Hi, and thank you for watching this webinar on the Riverstone Town Centre draft rezoning proposal that is currently on public exhibition. I'm Ben Gresham, Manager State Rezoning at the Department of Planning, Housing and Infrastructure, and I'm part of the team working on this project. This webinar will provide you with an overview of the rezoning proposal and explain how you can submit feedback. Before we begin, I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the various lands that we are on today. I'm recording this webinar from Darug Land, which is also the land of the traditional custodians of Riverstone. I also wish to acknowledge any Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people listening to this webinar and pay my respect to elders, past and present. I recognise and celebrate the diversity of Aboriginal peoples and their ongoing cultures and connection to the land and waters of New South Wales. Before I take you through the rezoning proposal, I will briefly run through the context and the history of this project. As many of you know, Riverstone is a popular place to live, with access to public transport, schools, parks and shops. The town centre is conveniently located to support more homes and jobs for the growing northwest population. In 2017, Blacktown City Council adopted its Riverstone Town Centre Master Plan, outlining its vision for the revitalisation and renewal of the town centre. Between 2018 and 2020, Council prepared and exhibited a planning proposal to support the implementation of their master plan. In 2023, it was determined that Council's proposal would not proceed due to the unresolved traffic and flooding issues. The department supports Council's overall vision for the revitalisation and renewal of the town centre. And in 2024, the department commenced work on a revised master plan and rezoning proposal. We have undertaken technical studies and worked closely with Blacktown City Council and government agencies to prepare this new rezoning proposal, which is now on public exhibition for your consideration. We will now take you through the main features of the rezoning proposal. The draft rezoning proposal considers several planning principles. As much of the land in the town centre is flood prone, flood risk was an important factor when preparing this proposal. We have considered recent studies and reports to make sure that the draft proposal delivers a more flood resilient town centre. We have based the design around two key features: George Street as the new main street, shown here, and Riverstone train station as the transport hub. High density buildings will be located around these centres and step down as you move away from these areas. To support inclusivity and help address the housing crisis, we've included a mix of housing types to cater for singles, couples and families, which complement the existing homes, while remaining close to public transport. The proposal also includes an affordable housing contribution rate between 1.5% and 10% in perpetuity to support a broader range of household incomes. The draft proposal plans for a walkable and safe pedestrian network to improve connectivity and accessibility for future residents and visitors, and additional public open space for recreation, sport and play. Finally, we've also recognised and celebrated the town centre's heritage features and buildings in line with Council's master plan. As you can see, the boundary of the rezoning proposal is Hobart Street to the north, Brisbane Road and Piccadilly Street to the east, the Richmond Railway Line to the west, and Garfield Road East to the south. The draft rezoning proposal will provide capacity for approximately 3,600 new homes. Most of these will be apartments, with building heights of up to 15 stories. It will also provide for 5 hectares of employment land with capacity for up to 1,200 jobs. To serve existing and future populations, over 8 hectares of new or improved open space is planned. There will also be a new main street along George Street, improved transport connections, including safer pedestrian and active transport areas, and improved flood resilience. Some of you may have noticed that the proposed rezoning area is different to Council's earlier proposal. Land south of Garfield Road East has not been included in this rezoning proposal. It may be considered in a future rezoning proposal when there is more certainty on the Garfield Road upgrade project currently being managed by Transport for New South Wales. I will now hand over to my colleague, Phil Pleffer, a senior planner with the department, who will share more information about the rezoning proposal.
Thank you, Ben. This slide shows the current and proposed land use zones under the Blacktown Local Environmental Plan. The image on the left shows the current land use zones, with the predominant zones being R2, low density residential, and E1, local centre. The image on the right shows the proposed land use zones. Key features of the proposed land use zone include the relocated E1 local centre to allow for the new town centre along George Street, an MU1 mixed-use R4 high-density residential and R3 medium-density residential zone to allow for a range of housing types, including apartments, townhouses and dual occupancies. Increased areas of RE1 public recreation zone land for open space, and lands proposed for a public transport hub and car parking. The draft plan provides for taller buildings near the train station and the new local centre on George Street, with up to 15 stories near the station and up to 10 stories around George Street. These areas are the purple and red coloured areas shown on the map. Moving away from these areas, building heights progressively step down to 8, 6, 5 and finally 2 stories in the north to be consistent with the existing built form. We are proposing to transform higher risk flood-prone land into much-needed public open space, recreation facilities and stormwater drainage. Proposed open spaces include a full-sized oval adjacent to Riveston Parade, stormwater management corridor along King Street, a community plaza near the train station, as well as shaded pedestrian streets. Privately owned land that has been identified for open space will need to be acquired and will be confirmed once the plan is finalised in early 2026. We welcome your feedback on these proposed acquisitions. Most of the land in the town centre is flood affected to some degree. It is subject to localised overland flow, flooding from Eastern Creek, as well as flooding from the Hawkesbury River. Flood conditions in the town centre are complex and vary based on the type of rainfall event. The department has reviewed recent studies and reports to make sure the rezoning proposal provides a considered response to flood risk and reduces the extent of future property damage and potential loss of life. We have considered flood risk by relocating the town centre to higher ground and permitting new homes in lower flood risk areas. Planning for an increased minimum floor level to reduce the risk of homes being inundated by floodwaters. And proposing acquisition of lower lying land for open space, recreation facilities and stormwater management purposes. Further consideration will be given to flood risk based on feedback received during public exhibition. The rezoning proposal substantially utilises the existing road network. We are proposing that George Street, the new main street, is pedestrian friendly with on-street parking. Market Street will provide a safe and direct connection between the train station and George Street. Park Street is extended to Riveston Parade to improve east-west vehicular connectivity and is designated as the main bus corridor. The western part of Mill Street is closed to allow for the expansion of the Mill Street Reserve. The western part of King Street is repurposed for stormwater management. A new bridge is proposed along George Street between Church Street and King Street to assist with flood evacuation. And finally, heavy vehicles are to be rerouted along Hobart Street and Piccadilly Street. Transport for New South Wales proposes several road upgrades in the area to reduce traffic congestion and improve connectivity and safety. This includes proposed upgrades to Garfield Road East, Garfield Road West and Garfield Road Central. The department understands that the Garfield Road Central upgrade could affect land south of Garfield Road East, and this is why this land has not been included in the rezoning proposal. It may be considered in a future proposal when there is more certainty about the upgrades. I will now hand back to Ben to discuss the rezoning timeframe and explain how you can have your say.
Thanks, Phil. Until now, our team has been carrying out studies and investigations to help prepare the draft rezoning proposal. The rezoning proposal is now on public exhibition, and we encourage you to have your say. More information is provided on the next slide about how to submit your feedback. After exhibition closes, we will assess your feedback, consider changes, and make a recommendation to the Minister for Planning and Public Spaces. We expect to finalise the proposal in early 2026. To have your say and learn more about the proposal, visit the department's website by scanning the QR code on your screen or using the link provided. You can view the exhibition documents and make a submission via this webpage. We also invite you to attend a drop-in session to discuss the proposal. You can register your attendance using this same webpage link. We thank you for your time and we look forward to receiving your feedback.